90% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
Welcome back. Tell it like it is, UPTV Channel 6. It's 8 p.m. We're hanging out here in the dungeon. You know, it's Friday night and it's a little chilly outside, but hopefully everybody's warm in the house. And we'll be checking me and my man Big Bund out for the next 60 minutes as we...
It's cold outside.
Oh, he's singing his Christmas carol. Go ahead, man.
Nah, it's all right. I save it.
You gonna save it?
Save it.
Yeah, I thought you was gonna go ahead and do one of your Lou Rawls.
Lou Rawls dead, man. You let the man rest.
Okay. I was gonna say Sammy Davis too, but he dead too.
He ain't dead. I saw him last week.
Oh, you hanging out with Elvis?
Yep. At Big Lots.
What was he buying?
Some blow-ups.
I would expect that out of you.
I hear you.
Now, see to our right, our big fella, Big Wayne, he's lost so much weight, he's turned into a bottle of Deja Blue, just hanging out on the table.
Deja Blue Kool-Aid.
You know what it is. You just said Kool-Aid. I brought a big bottle of red Kool-Aid for him, but he didn't show up.
Oh, he ain't gonna show up.
Now, do you believe he's not here because of what happened with the Vikings and the Bears last Sunday, or he's just got some previous engagement?
No, he's our roving reporter, so he could be on assignment, double secret assignment.
Yeah, well, you know, high school basketball has kicked off in the area. Got games going on over at Champaign Central and Centennial tonight, so.
Tonight.
Excuse me, quite a few people should be out traversing through Champaign-Urbana.
If you ain't got no heat in your car, you ain't gonna traverse.
Yeah, that's you gonna run. This is, now you know what this kind of weather is. This is the kind of weather that make you walk fast and not talk.
That's true.
You know, you see people on the street, you know.
Hey, how you doing?
They give you one of them, then they keep moving on. So, well, like I said, those of you who are sitting at home, check this out on UPTV Channel 6. Hopefully you'll enjoy what we're doing tonight as we'll take you through the world of sports. And we're going to start it off. Fighting Illini basketball, the season kicked off. And the Fighting Illini, I'm going to have to say it right up front. It's a pleasant surprise to see what they're doing on the hardwood. Coach Weber has got the group this year, the 08-09 version, really enthused about playing basketball, and it shows the way they've come out the gate so far. They went down to South Padre Island over the Thanksgiving break.
Where's that at?
It's down there off the tip of Texas, right between Texas and the coast of New Mexico. The coast of Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Cancun's only about 30 minutes from it. Yeah. You ever go down there to Cancun for like spring break or anything?
Never been south of the border.
Never been south of the border?
Have no reason to go there.
When you were in college, did you ever go anywhere for spring break?
He went to Florida.
Did you? Know where I went?
He probably went to Princeton, Kentucky.
Went to Eastern, down to Charleston. Nobody was there because everybody was gone on spring break.
Well,
duh. But back to the Fighting Illini. They went down to South Padre. They beat Kent State. Now, everybody said, Kent State, whoop-de-doo. Kent State was an NCAA qualifying team. They made it to the tournament last year.
Yeah.
You know, they beat Tulsa.
Yeah.
Another qualifier. Mike Tisdale went down there, played some, I'd have to say, I won't say stellar basketball, but
he got the MVP.
He was the MVP. So it was stellar for that group of teams that was down there.
Do they call it, would you actually call it a tournament?
Yeah, I mean, it's
I call it a basketball social gathering.
Social gathering?
That's all. It wasn't no tournament. The tournament was out in Hawaii.
The Maui? Well, I will say this. Kent State, Texas A&M, Illinois, and Tulsa are not four marquee schools when you talk about NCAA basketball, but they are Division I-A schools. You do get some good quality basketball. Just remember, Bill Gillespie just a couple years ago had Texas A&M one of the top teams in the country.
Yeah, he did.
You know, and Warren Carter's brother, Josh Carter's playing down there. So they had some talent on the teams down there. But as you said, Mike Tisdale was MVP of the tournament. They came back here Tuesday to play in the Big Ten ACC Challenge against Clemson. And this was probably the toughest test on the preseason schedule that we were going to see up to this point. And I must say, Illinois held their own. They lost. It was a valiant effort. They lost 76-74 at home. Mike Davis, who's been a double-double man all year, showed what he could do in transition basketball. 28 points, and they all came a variety of ways, whether it be little floaters he was shooting around the lane, jump shots off the wing, ferocious slam dunks. And I think the best move he did of the night, he got the ball in the post, did a fake right to the baseline, turn around, fade away, old school jumper, busted in the postman's face. I mean, he did it all that night, but obviously it wasn't enough as they lost. But what about that game impressed you about Illinois in general?
They finally played a team, a real team.
Somebody you heard of.
Yeah, somebody you heard of. I mean, Clemson's not the. I mean, Clemson probably be in the top 5 in the ACC, but I mean, I don't know how they had opportunity at the end, and I'm not gonna mention any names. They was dribbling the ball around, and I guess they must have forgot that. I guess they thought it was practice. And when he said shoot, he didn't know what to do. And when he and when he looked up, when he tried to get a shot off, hey,
triple zeros on the
triple
clock.
zeros.
Yeah, and that play that you're talking about, Illinois was down in the last 2 minutes of the game against Clemson, and Dimitri McCamey came and he hit a big three and then a two-pointer to get Illinois within 2 points. There was 11 seconds left on the clock. They fouled. I think the kid's name is Stitt for Clemson. Mm-hmm. Coach Weber had 2 timeouts. Before Stitt got to the free throw line, they called a timeout. They went ahead, shot the free throw. He missed it. Mm-hmm. Now, based on the post-game press conference, they talked about that Illinois set up 2 plays during the timeout if he made the free throw, if he missed the free throw. He missed the free throw, and I agree with this sentiment of any other coach. On a missed free throw, you shouldn't call timeout because it's easier to get a transition bucket because defense isn't back. Dimitri McCamey came down with the ball, got hung up at the top of the key. Now, they said that they were trying to set a double screen for him to get the ball to Trent Meacham on the left wing. Mm-hmm. I was at the game. I didn't see the play materialize the way Coach described it. As he indicated, he thought Trent was open on the wing. McCamey didn't get it to him. At that point, he got hung up in no man's land, kicked it to the right wing to Chester. Chester put it on the floor, and like you said, horn went off before the shot went off.
But the thing about it, Joe, they haven't been in situations like this all year. Sometimes when you've never been there, you've been there before, but you haven't been there lately. Right. It's like going to the store. They done changed everything up. You're like, wow, it used to be here.
They said the milk was over here, but now
they done moved it.
Yeah.
And they haven't been in a game like that this year. I mean, except Kent State, it went in overtime.
But my question for you and for the audience, and if you want to chime in, give us a hit, 328-8280, 328-8280. You can jump in the conversation with me and Big Bun. Should Coach Weber have called his last time out when McCamey didn't give up the ball early when he came off that double screen that they were setting for him?
I would say no, because Clemson pressed them all game, and Illinois had tired legs at the end. Mm-hmm. You could tell they was winded. They never been in a situation like this. And if you call a timeout, I mean, they're going to put the pressure on you. You got less than 5 seconds, and they're going to press. Mm-hmm. So he did the right thing. A whole lot of games are won and lost in the last seconds.
Yeah.
You've seen Cameron Dollar go all the way to drive all the way baseline, shoot, score. Valparaiso, they did it in the NCAA tournament maybe 5-6 years ago.
Right. Well, my attitude is I agree that in transition, you don't call a timeout. But when McCamey came down and hit the top of the key and they could not get the set play set up at that point with about 5 or 6 seconds left, that's when I would have used that last timeout. I would have designed another play so that I think that the theory or the logic the coach was using, and Bun just talked about it, Illinois didn't have any legs left in them, and so they were playing for the win, not for the tie, because they didn't believe that going into overtime they would have been able to do anything with Clemson, because Clemson, remember, scored 56 of their 76 points in the paint.
Yep.
They were destroying Illinois down low. Illinois had no answer for the big guys for Clemson, and Stitt, he was breaking down Illinois on the defensive end in terms of his penetration, And Chester Frazier, his legs were gone.
Yep.
I mean, he was cramping up to the point that when he went to the sideline and sat on the bench, he couldn't even sit down. He had to stand up behind the bench. So my thing is, at the 6 second, 5 second point, he should have called timeout, reset, and try to get an out of bounds play for 3 to try to win that game. But such is life. He didn't call a timeout. And here we are with the first loss of the season, 76-74. Now tomorrow they go to Chicago and play at the United Center, and they take on the Georgia Bulldogs, SEC matchup. I don't think the Bulldogs are as good as they've been in the past.
No, Bulldogs, I mean, Bulldogs ain't the Bulldogs. They
Nah.
the baby dogs.
They the poodles
Yep.
of the SEC. So
They just lost to Western Kentucky.
the Hilltoppers. Oh, now do you
We
get
ain't talking about that.
telegrams every time now and then to Granny and them and Ellie Mae send you stuff up when the Hilltoppers win?
Yeah, just send me a country ham.
And speaking of country ham, I gotta go come by and pick them steaks up from you. Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, Fighting Illini, you still got something in your teeth.
Yeah.
Now Thanksgiving it's been over about a week now, ain't it?
Leftovers.
I'm sorry, leftovers.
Cornbread, hash, you make stuff. You got.
Oh, so you were really getting it.
Yeah, you're a single man. You got to put stuff together. Empty the cupboard soup, and empty the refrigerator salad.
Now, empty the refrigerator salad.
Concoction juice.
I'm afraid to ask what goes in the empty refrigerator salad.
You don't know.
Is it green?
Hey, to clean you out.
Okay. What you're telling me is that some of the stuff that goes in it is green, but it ain't supposed to be if it clean you
That's
out.
true.
Well, like I said, we're sitting here on UPTV Channel 6, Tell It Like It Is. Myself, Big Bun, Jason in the back driving us around. So if you want to get in the conversation, give us a hit. 328-8280, 328-8280. Now, the ACC Big Ten Challenge overall.
It's a joke. It need to end now.
Wow. I couldn't even get it. You choked me up with that one.
10 years, you 0 for 10.
Yeah.
It's time to do something different. Well, let's bring back you remember 6, 7 years ago, they used to have the grade 8, the Elite 8 from
Right.
last year's tournament, played again.
Right.
Bring that back. I need to change up. Now you got you got now you got the Pac-10 and the Big 12 challenge. Then you got the SEC and the Big East challenge.
Right.
Everybody want to do a challenge. Let's get rid of that.
Yeah, I agree, because first of all,
Let's play some basketball.
I agree, Avery. We should play some basketball because, first of all, the Big Ten ACC Challenge, as you just said, is a joke because of one reason only: recruiting. Everybody talked about by putting this matchup together, if whoever shows they're the power conference could, win the recruiting battles. Big Ten's not winning any recruiting battles with the ACC. The Big Ten's not running any recruiting battles with the ACC, the Big East, or the SEC, or for that matter, the Pac-10.
Because you look at it, all right, Monday, Wisconsin won. Tuesday, they split. So ACC needed 2 wins going into Wednesday. Well, we know Michigan State wasn't going to beat North Carolina, and we know Indiana wasn't going to beat Wake Forest.
Nope.
So you give them 2 wins.
And here's the thing about it. The 2 strongest teams in the Big Ten right now are Michigan State and Purdue. And they got to play at home.
Yeah.
And both of them got hammered.
And Duke walked the dog on them.
Right. They walked Purdue, and North Carolina walked Michigan State. Excuse me. So
That's real sad. I mean, the last 3 or 4 minutes of the Michigan State game, they were playing walk-ons.
yeah,
What team had 5 walk-ons?
North Carolina's got a JV team. JV, like I said, they got 5 walk. That's a JV team, and they're still out there playing and increase the lead.
Yeah, they playing with the flow of the game.
Right.
It ain't like they was out there taking wild shots and fouling hard. Hey, they running offense. They
Well,
won,
One.
and 4.
they doing the little cross signs and everything else. Now, my question about that, because they beat Michigan State like rented mules.
That'd be North Carolina. North Carolina should be back there in March.
Yeah, now that's what I was going to ask. Are they unstoppable right now?
Yeah, they are. I mean, because, I had told somebody earlier, this college basketball this year is weak as 5-day-old Kool-Aid. Because you look, last year you had O.J. Mayo, you had Michael Beasley, You had Eric Gordon. You had all these freshmen, phenoms that was coming, that was playing ball. You don't hear nobody now.
No.
There's nobody out there in North Carolina. They can only beat themselves right now.
And I think you make an excellent point in the fact that they are senior laden. You got Ty Lawson, Tyler Hansbrough, Wayne Ellington.
And you got Ginder when he comes back.
in, Green comes in.
And Ginder's hurt.
They got a plethora of talent on that team. And when you see them play teams like Michigan State, and Michigan State is a bona fide top 20 team.
Even though Suton didn't play.
Right, but even with that, they beat them
Soundly.
Ford Field. I know it's not their true home court, but they beat them like they shouldn't even been on the court with them.
Right.
And Hansborough's missed, 2 or 3 games this season with the ankle and shin injury. Mm-hmm. When he gets to full strength, I really can't see anybody in the country playing with that team right now.
Yeah, because it's exciting. I mean, if North Carolina don't win, it's Roy Williams ought to be fired.
Yeah. Now, but you know what? This is a testament to his ability to recruit. He
Yeah.
was always a great recruiter when he was at Kansas. Now he's got to Carolina. He's doing the same thing at Carolina. And based on what I've seen right now in the early part of college basketball, I really don't see anybody out there that's going to challenge North Carolina in terms of what's going to happen in the world of college basketball. So
I think personally, tell it like it is. I think it may be a couple teams out there that could challenge them. But you won't know. I think Connecticut is one of them. Mm-hmm. They got a big man inside.
Yep.
They got good guard play. Louisville, even though Louisville lost to Western Kentucky because they was playing around.
You done name dropped West Kentucky twice in the show, ain't you? That was pretty slick how you did that.
And Kansas. Kansas is a sleeper out there.
Yeah, I think the loss of Kansas lost 6 or 7 guys off the national championship team. You mentioned earlier all the freshmen that left, and Kevin Love being one from UCLA. There are a lot of unknowns out there, but I think Pittsburgh is another team that you need to look out for.
Hey, remember his
out there.
name? Sada Samuels.
Sada Samuels. Who does he play for?
Louisville. Freshman. Rick Pitino says his best player he ever coached.
Now,
ever had.
My
And
question-
Rick Pitino's been around a long time.
yeah, count the rings in his hair like a tree. Now, my thing about Rick Pitino, will he wear the ice cream good humor man suit this year?
He probably will.
Now, remember last year, he wore that suit and they was getting
At
torn
halftime.
off. He tore it off at halftime like a warm-up jersey, came out with a different suit because they was getting broke off.
Yep.
Was that Georgetown that they were playing? Yeah,
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Now, see, that's another team that I thought would be challenging this year, even though, they lost Roy Hibbert and a couple of good guards. But I think John Thompson III, with that motion offense they run, they've got some good talent out there. Austin Freeman, DeJuan Summers on the wings for them. Now, Doc Rivers' son is gone. He transferred from
Yep.
Georgetown. He's actually going to go to Indiana, but so he's going to be eligible to play this year. So right now, I do believe Carolina has got to be odds-on favorite.
If you go to Vegas, you wouldn't even get no odds. It'd be 1-1.
I got 1 to 5. Got to bet $5 just to win one. Get out there. So I don't think you'll see anything in terms of Carolina participating against anybody else other than themselves, as Big Bun said, going through this collegiate season. Well, 328-8280 is the phone number. If you guys want to jump in on the conversation, talk to us about, we talked a little bit earlier about Illini basketball and college basketball in general. But we're going to jump into the NFL because breaking news, a ruling came down today from the magistrate out of Minnesota, out of all places. Fat Boys
Are back.
The Fat Boys catch a break.
For now.
Yeah, the magistrate in Minnesota said that they are going to stop the suspension of 5 of the NFL players who were suspended on Tuesday for using a banned substance, a diuretic and a dietary supplement. Kevin Williams and Pat Williams, the 2 big bookend tackles for the Minnesota Vikings, are now eligible to play this Sunday against Detroit. Deuce McAllister, Will Smith, not the actor, but the defensive end, and was it Charles Grant?
Yep.
They're all eligible to come back and play for the New Orleans Saints. Now, Brian Pittman, who's a linebacker for the Houston Texans, decided to just take his 4-game suspension and get it over with, so he was not involved in the case. But we talked about this a couple of times off the air. First of all, do you think it's a good ruling that the guys have been allowed to come back?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's according on the Minnesota thing. It's like playing on borrowed time. You don't know when your sentence is going to come down, so you keep doing what you got to do.
Right.
But I know a whole lot of Bear fans was mad that these two big boys got suspended after last Sunday's game. You know,
Especially if they goal line stand.
But like you like me and you talked about earlier, like you said earlier, you don't know. Okay, last two games of the year, they might say, okay, you're suspended. Okay, then you got to set the last two games,
Right.
say the 4. Then if Minnesota make the playoff, they're out that game, and if they happen to win that one, they're out the next game.
Right.
They wouldn't be eligible to, I think, what that'd be the NFC championship game.
That's it. Yeah, so like I said, it might be fool's gold in terms
Yeah.
of this decision coming down from U.S. Magistrate up in Minnesota. Now,
If you're gonna do it, if you're gonna hold it off now, hold it off to next year.
here, I agree.
Starting next year, 4 games, 6 games, whatever you want to do. Don't do it toward the end of the year unless it's something detrimental to the team. I mean, like Houston, I understand why he out because they out.
Right. So he ain't no big whoop for him. You know, he said, I might as well take this thing, get it over with,
the
start my
Saints,
vacation early.
the Saints are, they not mathematically out, but they're out.
Yeah, they're 6-6. So the Saints right now are kind of teetering because in the NFC South, as we know right now, Tampa Bay
Yep.
is leading that division. Atlanta's close on their heels.
And Carolina.
along with Carolina, and so the Saints as well. They've been playing all these. They're 6-6, and they're in last place. So right now the Saints really they're a long shot to get a wild card.
Yeah.
So I agree that right now they might even consider. Will Smith and Deuce McAllister may consider like Pittman did, say, hey, just forget it, take our 4 games down, get this thing over with. But back to the two guys in Minnesota, Kevin and Pat Williams. One of the things that me and Bund had talked about off the air is the fact that maybe the NFL needs to look at having an NFL branded dietary supplement. That way, all teams in the league can be outfitted with the same dietary supplements, regardless of what guys want to use. If you want to use a dietary supplement, it comes directly from the NFL.
Won't work.
As opposed to the NFL having a hotline, and every time you go out and buy a supplement, you got to call and see if this is an approved dietary supplement, does it have a banned substance in it, et cetera. To me, that doesn't make sense. Now, I understand about endorsement deals.
Yeah, I mean, it's too
Some,
many. It won't work. You got too many kickbacks out there. You got the EA, or whatever it is.
Right, with
Brady Quinn. And then you got these other little companies, the 5-hour power hour. We
Right.
got these guys. It just won't work.
Well, I agree that if they've got so many companies out there that the individual players have their endorsement deals, but I think as a league, if they really want to stop these type of lawsuits and injunctions that jump up because players are saying this is not fair, I didn't know what was in, just have one supplement provider. Just like, well, you think about the uniforms. Reebok does all the uniforms.
Yep.
Every team is sponsored by Reebok in terms of the production of the uniform. Well, if that's the case, let's do the same thing with the dietary supplements.
Yep.
Then that way everybody's got the same stuff, they're ingesting the same stuff. So now if I come up and I get a positive reading on a test,
It's your fault.
it's on me because I went out and used a supplement outside the bounds of what they're providing for me. But I think that's really the only way you're going to clear this up. Another thing, you talked about this about a week ago, about these benchmarks that people have in their contracts for weight.
Yeah.
I think they really need to change this idea of having, a benchmark that says, to be a defensive tackle, you can't be over 350 pounds.
Yep.
And if you're over 350, you're going to get docked so many dollars per day till you get back down to it. Because to me, it's a contradiction in the statement of the NFL. They want these big guys out there. If you look at each team in terms of the lineup, back in the 80s when Refrigerator Perry played for the Bears, one 300-pound lineman in the entire league.
Yep.
Everybody's 300 pounds now.
That's the average size.
Right. So, you go all the way down to high school. You got kids that big. So how can you have these
Yep.
weights?
East St. Louis had a guy who was 6'2", 6'3", 300 pounds, a freshman.
Right. So how can you have these weight clauses when you got 14, 15-year-old kids that big
Well,
now?
maybe they're looking at the health factor. They don't want you, collapse on them like your big boy.
Corey Stringer?
Yeah.
Well, but here's, you know what, ironic about Corey Stringer collapsing? Corey Stringer was taking a supplement, a diuretic, that caused him to become dehydrated when he was going through training camp, and that's what caused him to have the heat stroke and pass away up there in Minnesota about 7 years ago. You know, so I mean that's where the irony is that he was taking a supplement to get his weight down.
Yep.
Like you said, and because of that, that's what added to his demise when that happened up there in training camp. So I don't know. I just think that, you know, I understand, as you said, for health concerns, you don't want to get guys out there to get so big to where it's stress on them. But when everybody's sitting out there, you can't tell me that at 6'4", 350 pounds, that's already stress on the guy to begin with.
Yep.
You know, so
Then you got this pounding, abuse, down at 3-point stand, 2-point stand, people running at you, people chopping at your ankles, people chopping at your knees,
Right.
hitting you upside the head,
you know.
stepping on you, rolling up on you.
Well, like I said, I really
It's a
think
man's sport.
it is a man's sport, and they need to, you know, do something about that in terms of what's going on with the different things. But as I said earlier, the fat guys, first of all,
We back.
we're back. Fat boys are back. People love the fat guys now.
You're right.
The fat boys caught a break. Well, speaking of catching something, you got on your New York Giants shirt. Plaxico Burress caught one,
Yeah.
but he caught it in the wrong place.
Yeah, he caught one in the leg.
He went in.
Self-inflicted.
Now, first of all, when I heard the description of what happened, the immediate image I got in my head was, let's do it again. Bill Cosby coming into the restaurant, and he reaches in his pants,
And the gun drops out them knickers.
out them knickers, and he has to unzip his pants to reach through his knickers to get the pistol out.
Yep.
What in the world was going on with Plaxico Burress to where he had a bullet in the chamber and the safety off, and a gun tucked in the waistband of his pants?
Well, maybe he was unloading it. He was unloading it and it went off.
Oh, he was is that what was happening?
Yeah, he was pulling the clip out and I guess he forgot it went in the chamber.
Uh-huh.
It happened, but sorry to say, I mean, you know, a whole lot of people say, you know, well, that's going to be the fall of the Giants. No, Plaxico hadn't been there all year.
Right.
He's been in and out, and the Giants they don't seem like the team like the Cowboys. They fall apart and stuff like that. It seemed like they make it stronger, but Plaxico has brought a whole lot of people in this situation. Not only teammates, he got hospitals and doctors involved in this situation.
I'm
Now,
amazed.
people didn't know. Now, it's called Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Right.
Now, Wind got robbed Tuesday at a nightclub, at the same nightclub Plaxico was at Friday. So you didn't know that, did you?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it took his jury and some money.
Well, today when we were doing a radio show, we had a guy call in and he asked about that and the fact that comes with the big contracts and celebrity comes the opportunity for people to come after you and rob you. My response was, well, let's look at it from this standpoint. With celebrity comes additional responsibility and you have to be wise about choices. Now, a lot of people say, well, why do you have to be a prisoner in your own home because you make a lot of money?
You shouldn't have to.
Shouldn't have to, but you also need to make a determination. Okay, I'm instantly a multimillionaire. Mm-hmm. I no longer can go to the same places. The society that we live in today is not the same as it used to be, where athletes were revered. There's
your
a lot of
demeanor.
haters out there.
It's your demeanor that you carry. Now, Charles Barkley, he a multimillionaire. He go anywhere.
Well, that's got Charles Barkley.
He's a people's person.
He's a
you know,
people's person?
you get these people now. You know, you get people now that they think they sit up here and they better than everybody else. Well, which they are, because you getting a whole lot of chips.
Mm-hmm.
But don't forget where you come from.
Right.
You got a whole lot of people that do that.
Well, but here's the paradox of that. Okay, so you don't forget where you come from.
And don't be stupid about it. Like Antoine Walker, them sitting outside in a car
With $125,000 of jewelry on, in the middle of the hood.
waiting on the restaurant to open.
That's like walking through the Lion's Den with pork chop drawers on. You just know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
Yep, it's the first three, you're like, nah, I'm going to leave him alone.
Right.
And four of them said, man, I got to have him.
Man, that watch looks nice. That's a fine
You know,
chain.
and the economy is, you know, there's some thirsty people out here.
Right.
And the economy is kind of jacked up right now, so I mean they gonna try him.
Right.
And he gonna go out to the club like, I'm Plaxico. He going to VIP. He with a pistol, a 40 Glock.
Right.
Now he got a big boy pistol.
And the big boy pistol bit him.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I was surprised about is you mentioned some of the people who were involved in this case and how far the tentacles of this thing reach. You got Antonio Pierce,
That's his sidekick.
his sidekick.
That's his roommate. That's his roommate in training camp.
He gets Plaxico up, takes him out, takes him to the hospital. Also, got the gun. Okay. You got the doctor who treated.
Which they called.
Right.
The doctor was home.
The trainer of the Giants called the doctor. The doctor treated Harris Smith.
Yep.
So now Plaxico goes to the hospital, falsifies documents to get the treatment.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor then violates New York state law, doesn't report a gunshot victim to the authorities immediately.
Yep. So
Then you got
doctor
Plaxico.
suspended.
Right. Then you got Plaxico with a gun that's not licensed or registered in the state of New York. So now he's violated New York law with the gun.
And city.
And the
ordinance,
city.
City ordinance.
City ordinance and state. And now you got Plaxico who did have the gun from Florida. It was registered there. Come to find out, registration expired several months ago. So now he's violating Florida law. And what happened? He shot himself. This man is getting ready to get about as much time in jail as O.J. Simpson, and he shot himself.
I don't think he'll do a day.
You don't think he's gonna do a day?
Nope.
Why not?
Because, I mean, he'll buy his way out, but it's going to cost him. It's going to cost him some chips. Come to find, man, Plaxico, they broke his contract down. He got like $22 million, and he got $11 million up front. He gets $100,000 per week for every time he's on active roster.
Wow. So with the suspension, that's $400,000 gone.
Oh, they're talking about taking that.
All of that.
Taking all that. Now you have the players' union coming involved, which I understand in a way, in a way I don't. Now the man has shot himself in the leg. All right, so if you go to the doctor, he out 6 to 8 weeks.
Right.
With the injury on top of the hamstring. Why is the union coming in here trying to do it? They put him on unable to perform list.
Right. Which he is.
Yeah. Now the union won't step in because they talking about taking his chips. They are. He's done it. He's done with New York. Like
Yeah.
the picture you saw on TV Sunday, his last shot, his last catch,
That's it.
that was his last catch.
And I think the other thing you mentioned about the Giants in relation to the team, the situation last year with Jeremy Shockey, I think, prepared New York for this issue here. When Tiki Barber was going through his retirement,
You used to think John's been going through
Process.
it for the last 3 years.
Right. Then-
Tiki Barber, Shockey.
and now Plaxico, I think with Barber and Shockey, it has insulated that team that they're accustomed to off the field distraction. They're down at the Super Bowl last year, and Jeremy Shockey is up in a booth getting drunk.
Ooh, had plenty of glasses
That's
in front
right.
of him.
Watching his team win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
To me, I was amazed at the fact that here it is, even though you're not on the active roster, you're supposed to be on the sideline with your teammates. But him not being there, they still went out, and I think that helped Eli Manning. And now that's what I think is
Maybe they
really
told
helping
him, don't come.
Maybe they did tell him to stay up there. But I also think that helped Eli Manning in his confidence because now, whether Plaxico's there or not, he's still the same Eli, and he's doing a great job.
Because last year, the second half of the season, Plaxico didn't practice, not a game, not a down.
Right.
But he played in games because he was hurt. He was so hurt. But now Tom Coughlin is an old school coach, and he's coming late to practice. And he said, "Well, I had to take my kids to school." Something. Oh, okay. Well, guess what? You're not starting, and you'll play when I want you to play.
Right.
And he plays fairly that game.
Well, I know this. Based on everything that's happened right now, New York Giants are still the number one team right now in the NFC, bar none.
Yeah.
I mean, you can talk about all the other teams you want in the NFC, but right now the New York Giants are the team to beat in the NFC. Now, speaking of the NFC, Week 14 starts up this weekend, or actually started up yesterday with San Diego going and annihilating the Oakland Raiders. That game was played in 3D. I don't know why you'd even want to watch Oakland Raiders in 2D, let alone 3D. I mean,
It's true.
it's best to watch the Oakland Regulars if some kid drew stick figures and just flipped the page.
It's hard to imagine that a couple years ago there was one play from going to the Super Bowl.
And now look at them. They one play from getting the number 1 pick in the draft again.
No, they ain't. Detroit got that sold
They got
out.
that sold up. I forgot about Detroit. Didn't even know they was playing football this year.
I think the Raiders won 3 games, 3 games.
I think they've won 2. They upset Denver a week ago. And
Then they beat Kansas City.
beat Kansas City. So, yeah, they've won 2.
Yeah, they up.
But that just show you how weak the AFC West is. But going back to Week 14, you've got you talked about Detroit. We talked earlier about Minnesota. That's the first game on the list. Vikings go to Detroit. Is there any need to talk about this game?
I hate to say it, Joe. I know you're a big. It's one of them games you watch out for.
Trap game,
It could be
coming off
a big win.
Against the Bears at home.
Going nonchalant. Oh yeah, we going. Where you going this week? We going to Detroit.
Right. Well, I think what's going to have to happen going into that game, I think Minnesota should line up 2 tight ends and just feed them all day, Adrian Peterson and Chester Taylor, and just run the ball straight down the Lions' throat, the same way the Tennessee Titans did it against Detroit.
Yeah, because they're the
on
worst run
Thanksgiving Day.
defense.
You know, and that just go ahead and just run it on through and run it on through and just keep moving the ball like that. I think if they could do that, they'll save a lot of people in terms of injuries. And number 2, get them ready. They've got to play Gus Frerotte, not as much as he has to. We can go to these phone lines, 328-8280. Call us, tell us your name, tell us where you're calling from, tell it like it is.
Joe, this is John. I'm calling from Champaign, Illinois.
What's going on, John?
Hey, man, I'm enjoying the show, but I got a little correction. A friend of mine, Coach Gary, called, and he said that Georgetown you said that they run a motion offense.
The Princeton offense?
He said they run a modified Princeton offense.
Right.
You want to make sure you got that correct, so I got a shout out to Coach Gary. He didn't have the gumption to call you, so he called me and asked me to call you.
Well, I tell you what, John, tell him I appreciate the correction. I know that they run that modified Princeton offense, but sometimes I have a slip of the tongue here. The brain kind of locks up every now and then, especially when it's cold.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Now, I know you guys are talking football, but really, after watching the Bears get annihilated by the Vikings, I think they're done. And Plaxico Burress is in the same situation. You guys are talking about Plaxico. He's done.
Yeah.
I don't know that he'll ever play pro ball again. He's a talented receiver, but clearly he didn't have the brain.
Hey, John, Jerry Jones will pick him up. He'll fit in Dallas.
He'd be down there with the rest.
He just send the paddy wagon on to New York and just drive him on down.
Well, you guys go get to baseball because I want to talk about my White Sox and then finally getting rid of Javi Lopez, $11, $12, $14 million man that wasn't worth $12 million, wasn't worth $1 million.
Now, John, let me ask you real quick. Do you think Kenny Williams is just doing a fire sale to just clean out, to get ready, not for the 09 season, but 2010? Or do you think he's just cleaning house because he's just sick and tired of some of the talent on that team?
Well, they got Cabrera and they knew he was going to be a free agent coming in. They put him up. I think the strategy on him was if they offer him arbitration and he rejects it, then they can get something for him, which is their idea. I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to get Lexi Ramirez over at shortstop where he belongs.
Yeah.
Creedy's got to hurt back. They got to do something with him. I don't know. I hate to see Joe Creedy go anywhere, but he's got to get his back fixed. I don't think Josh Fields is that good, but I think he's unloading the big fat. I mean, if you look at their salary, they were only second, I think, to the Yankees last year.
Right.
And while they made it to the playoffs, we all knew they weren't going to go any farther than that.
What do you do with Jermaine Dye?
Well, the problem is you got 3 big old guys that can play first base. Maybe they can still hit the ball. Canerco, Dye, and Tomey.
Right.
I don't know what you do with Jermaine. I mean, he still made those sliding plays. He made them look fantastic sometimes, but really, a younger guy out there in right field can make those plays routine.
Right.
I like to see Brian, what's his name? I can't remember his name. They're blonde hair dude playing center field. He's got a great glove.
Okay.
And I think if he gets more opportunity to bat, he'll be better. Of course, when I hang up, I'll remember his name. But of course, you got an all-star player in right field. So what are you going to do then? You got the MVP until he hits his hand on the bat. That's something stupid. I don't know. I think that they got a catcher from
Yeah.
It wasn't the fielding, it was the pitching, and I think Kenny Williams tried to get some new pitchers.
Yeah, Jose Contreras, when he blew the Achilles, I think that was a angel in disguise for you guys because he had an earned run average at that point of about 7.
Yeah, he was blowing games.
He was giving them away. So, I think, my opinion, I think with the winter meetings coming up, I think Kenny Williams is just going to do a fire sale and really clean house, as you talked about. I think Jermaine Dye, he'll probably be gone. I agree with you, Creedy. I'd hate to see him go, but he'll probably be gone. I think he's going to be lining the team up to get him ready for 2010.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, I enjoy your show. I appreciate it, and I encourage Coach Gary to call in instead of calling me and asking me to call in for me.
Tell him we won't bite.
All right. Bye.
Take care, man. Well, yeah, the Sox, like you were saying, got a lot of changes.
Can you
to make.
imagine? Somebody offered you $140 million. You said, "Let me think about it."
You know what? Remember when Fred Sanford, when they had the episode, the Japanese business people came in wanted to buy his house?
Yeah.
And his house was the last one to sell on the block. And what did he say? Let me think about it?
Yep.
I thought about it. Where can we sign? That's me at $140 million.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous now, baseball.
It is very ridiculous what's happening in baseball. But let's get back to this NFL situation. Like I said, we talked about the Vikings and Detroit. Cleveland goes to Tennessee. Now, right now, it looks like Romeo Crennel, his job's toast.
Yeah, unless he can pull a rabbit.
Right, and then Tennessee, like I said, after coming off of their first loss against the Jets, they bounced back on Thanksgiving Day and just ran all over Detroit. I think you're going to see much of the same this Sunday with Chris Johnson and Lindell White, just a 1-2 combination. They're just going to run Cleveland off the field.
Yep.
Green Bay, Packers gave it away against, well, I don't know if you could say gave it away, because Carolina, DeAngelo Williams, 4 rushing touchdowns. Steve Smith looked like Randy Moss and T.O. and everybody combined.
Yep.
Houston Texans come into Lambeau Field. Now, Houston, Mario Williams is playing some good football on the defensive line.
Yeah,
but
that little draft pick starting to look a little better now.
now, Steve Slayton, 3rd-round draft pick out of Virginia.
West Virginia.
Now, remember,
He's a Mountaineer.
Mountaineer. I talked about Pat White and them a few years ago. You talked
Yeah.
about me on that. But he's playing some good football and had a couple nice runs last week.
Good fantasy guy.
Do you see Steve Slayton going into Green Bay and doing like DeAngelo Williams and those guys did?
No, I think Green Bay learned their lesson.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Atlanta and New Orleans. Now, this is a big game for New Orleans. Atlanta
It's
comes,
an elimination game.
like we said, New Orleans is 6-6 right now, and right now Atlanta is kicking with Carolina at the top of the league, along with Tampa Bay. I agree, it's an elimination game. Drew Brees, top-rated passer in all of the NFL when it comes to yardage and touchdowns, and now he's going up against Atlanta. Atlanta's playing some pretty good defense. I don't know, based on where New Orleans is at with their running game, because Reggie Bush is back,
Yeah.
but I don't know how effective he's going to be back there. If New Orleans can pull out, I got a feeling this is going to be a shootout at home because, like you said, New Orleans is playing for their playoff lives
Yeah.
right now. Now, Jacksonville at Chicago. Bear fans lost 3 of the last 4, and you've lost it big. Now, the good remedy that you got coming in this weekend is the Jacksonville Jaguars. What happened to the Jaguars this year?
I don't know. They just fell off the map.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have any injuries.
Well, I correct you on that. If you think back to beginning of the training camp with Richard Collier, the offensive lineman,
Yeah.
when he got shot, they lost a couple of offensive guards, so they offensive line is decimated right now.
But they got Jones Drew.
Yeah, but he's playing like Nancy Drew right now. He ain't playing like Jones
You got
Drew.
old man Taylor.
Yeah, Fred Taylor doesn't got that jitterbug step like he used to have.
Then Gerard.
And David Garrard, the fashionable dressing quarterback, he ain't looking like the guy
No.
from last year. The other thing with Jacksonville, they don't have any receivers on the outside.
No. They don't-
Matt Jones?
Matt Jones.
Who?
Matt Jones.
Who?
Quarterback, Arkansas.
Right. And now receiver, nowhere. His hands are terrible. And then you got Troy Williamson, the wide receiver who came in from Minnesota. He was a bust in Minnesota, and he's a bigger bust down there in Jacksonville. if the Bears want to get themselves right back in the thick of things in the NFC North,
They better win.
they better, because this is a win.
Bear down.
Bear down. This is a winnable game. It'll be cold up there, a little snow, a little blustery. Look for Matt Forte to have a big game run against Jacksonville. Now, Philadelphia and the New York Gents. The Gents take on Philly. This is another game where
Philly's done.
you think they're cooked.
John's gonna roll them.
Wow. So even with all the off the field controversy
Yeah, they
happening in
come
New York,
together.
they're gonna come together and just run the Eagles out of town. Yeah, I think it's gonna be one of the best.
And they at
matchups.
home too. They
Yeah.
at home. I mean, it'd be different than in Philadelphia.
Now,
They get to get out of their own bed.
yeah, that's true. But wait a minute. Now, on Saturday night though, they don't stay at home. They stay in the hotel room.
Well, that's true. But the same hotel.
Same hotel, same bed, same lumps in them, same maid service and all that. Well, I have to agree with you on that. Now, another game going on, Cincinnati, Indianapolis. That's real quick. Indy.
Yeah.
Marvin Lewis, start packing your bags.
Yep.
You know, tell the wife you're done. Tell everybody else you're done. Move on. Miami versus Buffalo. Buffalo just fell off. They were 4-1. Mm-hmm. And then everybody was talking about Buffalo, the new team, new
Yep.
generation.
Quarterback get concussion. And I don't know. He still ain't playing right.
Trent Edwards not going to be available.
They got
JP
beat by the
Losman.
49ers.
Yeah. That
At
kinda
home.
Give you a good indication.
Circle the wagons.
They used to be the Buffalo Bills, but now you'll see Chris Berman saying, oh, those Buffalo Bills special teams. They're not going to get it done. I think Miami comes in with the Wildcat. And Chad Pennington has had a nice, quiet season
Yes, he has.
in Miami. I'm surprised that when the Jets cut him loose, when they picked up Brett Favre, that a lot more teams didn't go after Chad Pennington. Mine, Minnesota Vikings being one.
Yep.
I think that was a stupid move on their part. New England goes to Seattle. Just like we talked about Swan Song, Mike Holmgren. This is his last year in Seattle. He did not plan on going out 2-14.
Yep.
But I think that's what's going to happen because they've got too many injuries in Seattle. They have no running game, and the defense is horrible. But other than that, Seattle's got a pretty good football team. We spoke of the Jets earlier, and you talked about San Francisco. Well, East Coast team goes west. Now, you know we talk about West Coast teams going east, and all of them get blown out. John Madden kind of talked about our theory the other night, and he said it has nothing to do with the travel. It's the fact that West Coast teams are horrible right now.
Yeah, they are.
You know, so you got one that's going to be at home. Iron Mike Singletary is coaching San Francisco. They got 2 victories under Iron Mike. The Jets come into town. Frank Gore or Brett Favre?
Frank Gore at home.
Frank Gore at home, going
Yeah.
with San Francisco. Kansas City at Denver. Now, I would have said maybe a few weeks ago that Denver would run Kansas City right out the building. But Tyler Thigpen is playing pretty good football.
Yes, he is.
And Denver, they have a running game depending on who the running back is. I just don't know who is the running back.
That's true.
You know, and
By committee.
and you got Jay Cutler under center throwing the ball all around for Denver. Is feast or famine with him. Last week it was feast in New York, but will it be feast against Kansas City? We'll find out Sunday. I think Denver will pull this one out. Big game Sunday night. Cowboys. How about them Cowboys?
They'll lose.
At Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah. Brother-in-law already guaranteed it.
Oh, that's done, huh?
Cowboys going to lose Sunday. They going to lose next Sunday. Mm-hmm. They might beat Baltimore. Then they might beat Carolina. That's their last 4 games. I keep up with them.
Well, speaking of Baltimore, Washington Redskins coming into town to take on the Ravens. Baltimore is 8-4.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Flacco.
I didn't see, as surprising as Matt Ryan is in Atlanta, Joe Flacco is just as surprising in Baltimore. But the other thing, crazy Ray Lewis and that defense, they playing just like they've always
Yep.
played. And, they're getting good production from the running backs. It was McClain, and, they're playing some good football there in Baltimore. I think Baltimore will pull this game out over Washington. I don't think Jason Campbell, everybody talked about his passer rating, and he hadn't thrown any interceptions early in the season.
Been throwing them now.
He throwing them around like rice at a wedding. He just slinging them around. Another game, St. Louis, the Rams go to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. So St. Louis will go and try to see if they can get their nickname back from
They won't.
Arizona.
They won't.
Won't happen. Yeah, I think at the end of this season, there'll be wholesale changes down there in St. Louis. Jim Haslett and that entire coaching staff.
Be
I know
gone.
he came as an interim, but he's out of there. The other thing that's going to happen, Torrey Holt, got cut him loose.
Yep.
You hate to see a Hall of Fame receiver who's giving you that type of career now be on a bad team. They got Isaac Bruce out of town last year. Let Torrey Holt go. Go play some good football. And Steven Jackson, biggest mistake the Rams made was giving him a truckload of money. Whenever you get a running back who holds out a truckload of money, they always get hurt.
You're right.
Ask
Every
Ryan,
time.
ask Green Bay and Ryan Grant this year. And the final game, which is another big game, NFC, Tampa Bay takes on Carolina at Carolina. Now, I know you're a old Tampa Yucks fan, but
Carolina.
think Carolina?
Yeah.
I was going to agree with you. I think Carolina's going to win it. And the reason why, coming off that victory in Green Bay, I think is going to, for the month of December, going to revitalize Carolina and take them all the way in terms of what's going to happen there. Now, 10 minutes left in the show. UPTV Channel 6, tell it like it is. If you want to jump in, give us a hit, 328-8280. We're going to close out the show and talk a little bit of BCS football as there are two
Roll Tide.
big marquee matchups this weekend.
That's all I'm going to say.
In the SEC, the Florida Gators take on his Roll Tide.
How do you be the number one team in the nation and you're 10-point underdogs?
Well,
That's very disrespectful on a neutral field.
tell you what, tell you how.
Oh, you got stats.
All right, speaking of stats, I'm going to give you a website to go to. I talked to Zach Rosenfeld. He's a college football analyst, and he has a company called AccuScore.com. That's AccuScore.com. Go to that website. Here's why. They do simulations based on all types of statistics, whether it be 1st and 10 on grass, 1st and 10 on whatever the statistics may be of the teams that are playing against each other. And they run simulated games through the computer. He said they ran a simulated game, Florida against Alabama, 10,000 simulations. The probability of Florida beating Alabama came back at 80%.
Well, that's good.
Now, obviously, that's
That's
just
a computer.
That has nothing to do with the emotion and the pride that these players take out on the
See,
field.
the computer can't put that in there.
And that's that unknown factor.
You're right.
And the fact that you said it earlier. Alabama is the number one team in the nation. And when you walk around with that crown on your head, your chest sticks out a little
It's
bit
like they've been
farther.
disrespected all year.
That's it. And almost as though Florida feels they're entitled
Yeah.
to that, even though they lost to Mississippi. Florida's attitude is that we're actually the best team. We just tripped up a little earlier in the season. I think that's going to fuel Alabama going into this game.
Nick Saban, this is a big recruiting war right here.
Yeah.
He win this game, I'm telling you, Alabama's back. Bear Bryant years are back.
So you're looking at this particular game. It comes on 3 o'clock Saturday on CBS.
And they take their football serious there. 'Cause a friend of mine, he just left from down in that area. You know, he go down there. I guess he's a Big Ten guy, and he go down there. He's in the Alabama, Florida area.
Right.
He looking for Michigan State and Iowa and Purdue stuff. I said, man, you down south.
You will never find. He got to go to a truck stop and get it off a trucker's head.
Yeah, and he mentioned he went to one of these little eateries,
Mm-hmm.
and he mentioned Bear Bryant's name and said the woman stopped what she was doing and said a prayer. I said, yes, man. I didn't take football serious down there.
Well, speaking of taking this serious, the game is going to be played in the Georgia Dome.
In the dome,
Fast track.
fast track.
Percy Harvin, game
Right.
time decision for Florida.
How he playing?
So he'll
Till he
be
get
out
hurt.
there.
Till he get hurt.
Now, because they're playing on AstroTurf, do you see an advantage for Florida? Because of the style of offense that they with their spread?
Florida hadn't played anybody fast.
Right.
Alabama got a fast defense. And to me personally, this is the national championship game.
Wow.
Oklahoma's playing good. They playing inspired football.
Right.
They scoring a whole lot of points, but they giving up a whole lot of points.
Yeah.
Now here it is. Alabama's played Auburn. Auburn beat them 6 years in a row. They beat them last Saturday, 39-0. It's been a long time since Auburn been shut out.
Yeah, you make some excellent points there.
And to me, all right, Oklahoma got lucky. They playing against Missouri in the Big 12 championship,
Yeah.
which I don't understand. I think Texas should have played. How you gonna beat a team and you're not gonna play for it?
Yeah.
But Texas Tech gonna be left out of BCS because you're only gonna take two. And you know who the two are. Oklahoma should beat Missouri,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be Oklahoma and Texas coming out for the BCS. Now you had these other teams, these scenarios. You had this Boise State, you got this
Ball
Utah
State,
and Ball State.
Right.
All right, they take the top 12. They not gonna put them three teams in them bowl games.
No. Ball State, first of all, because of the max contract with Motor City Bowl in Detroit,
They got to go there.
they got to go there, and they're stuck playing it like December 27th or something.
So what do they do? Do you lose the Buffalo? They play Buffalo tonight.
Right.
Do you lose the Buffalo and try your luck?
No, because if you lose the Buffalo, then that drops you down even lower and affects your rating in the BCS, and you're guaranteed not to go to a BCS. So either way, I mean, the system is screwed up.
You stuck like Chuck.
Now, back to the game. On the defensive side for Alabama, they got the big fella, Terrence Cody.
Yeah.
What is he, 365?
No, he just three something. Downside, that boy three something.
And 4 biscuits.
Yep.
Yeah, he is a big boy.
Yes, sir.
And he is unblockable.
And he's fast. Got fast feet.
Right. Now, and that's
That
the
boy
word.
got some
Speed.
speed.
He can go with it. We only got a couple minutes left in the show, so we're going to go ahead and jump right in these predictions. Florida, Alabama.
Alabama.
Alabama. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm impressed by
I'm gonna give you a
Florida.
score.
Give me-
28-17.
28-17. I'm going to say this. I don't think Alabama can stop Florida from scoring just 17. They might score a little bit more, but I think the turnover margin is going to favor Alabama, and that's how they're going to win the game. Going over to the Big 12, Oklahoma against Missouri. The problem for this game is Missouri has no defense.
Nope.
Illinois found out with the number of points they able to score in the first game of the season. Chase Daniels would throw the ball all over the field against Oklahoma, but Oklahoma showed whether it was Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, Missouri tomorrow.
Wear you down.
Sam Bradford, your Heisman Trophy winner, you heard it here first. Sam Bradford throws for 5 touchdowns when they play Missouri tomorrow. It'll be a whitewash. Mm-hmm. The only thing that will save Missouri is the temperature at game time.
Yep.
If it's cold, then you may not get as many points put up on the board. But other than that, the defense can't do anything. We got 1 minute left in the show. UPTV Channel 6, tell it like it is. Me and Big Bun sat here and blabbered our mouths for about an hour. Can't believe that time has gone that fast. Real quick before we get on out here, number one, Stat Girl couldn't make it. We had a beverage for her this evening, a nice big bottle of lemonade for her birthday. And Stat Girl, if you're out there checking us out, happy birthday to you.
That's
Real
a fine, too.
The De La Hoya fight. That's tomorrow.
Yep.
Pacquiao. Who you got?
De La Hoya, they going to let him win because it's a farewell game.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you right
Hopkins
now.
and Sugar Shane was at the weigh-in today.
Yeah, they're all boys. Golden Boy production. They all hang out together now. In the boxing ain't the way it used to be.
No,
But we're going to get on out of here. UPTV Channel 6, tell it like it is. Big Joe, Big Bun, they had a good time. Check us out on WCFN every other Sunday. We out?
Peace.